Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our channel CA Sansar. Today, I, Ankita Mehrotra Khatri, is back again and discussing on the part 2 of the job work procedures under the Goods and Service Act. Okay, now let's move. Before moving to the new topics which we like to discuss today, we'll first recapitulate with the previous video in which we have started about various cases for the job work. Now let's start with the case one. When we are sending the goods to the job work, to the job worker, and the job worker return back the good. The principal when sends the good to the job worker, we must keep in mind the principal is the person who is the owner of the goods, and he is just sending the goods for processing or manufacturing of the goods to the job worker or any other different kind of work. The principal must be a registered person as per the GST Act. If the principal or the job worker both are not registered, then doesn't comes under the scenario of the job work under the GST Act. But principal needs to be one of them needs to be registered, and where principal is the utmost requirement needs to be registered. So while the principal sends the goods to the job worker, he sends the inputs or either capital goods for job work under the cover of the delivery challan. Which delivery challan we use is challan 55 as per the CGST rules. We also discussed about the e-way provisions relating to the job work. How the e-way provisions will be captured in this job work scenario. Now, when the principal and the job worker both are situated in different states, then it is mandatory to issue the e-way bill by the principal to the job worker when he is sending the goods to the job worker, irrespective of the distance or the taxable value of the goods sent on job work. Similarly, when the job worker, after doing the job work, wants to return these goods back to the principal, then job worker has to prepare a e-way bill. If job worker is registered, he can prepare. If the job worker does not prepare, then it is the responsibility of the principal to prepare the e-way bill on behalf of the job worker. Now, job worker will return back these goods to the principal within the time frame of 1 year or 3 years, as we have discussed in the previous PPT. A job worker, while returning the goods back to the principal, will return the goods under the cover of duplicate delivery challan, which was issued formally by the principal to the job worker. Along with this challan, the job worker is also going to issue the invoice mentioning his job charges of the work done on those inputs and capital goods. Okay, so this first scenario, which he has already discussed in our previous video, I have just recapitulated it so that it's better for you to understand the next provisions. Similarly, the case 2 also was also discussed in the previous PPT, but let's go again with it. Now, this case deals when the goods are supplied directly by the vendor to the job worker. Now, if the vendor, who is the person who is selling the goods to the principal, and principal wants, like if we are purchasing any goods, the principal can also ask the vendor to deliver those goods directly to the job worker without first delivering to the principal, and then principal again delivers it to the job worker. That is a tedious job. To reduce the time frame and to reduce this tedious job, the vendor can directly send the goods to the job worker. Now, in this case, what we have to do is vendor will issue an invoice to the principal, but the copy of the invoice will also be given to the job worker. Principal will give a copy of challan. That is, this challan is under rules 45 of the CGST rules. So this challan, the principal can give this challan directly to the vendor, who will, along with the copy of invoice, will send the inputs or capital goods which are required under the job work to be done to the job worker. And the e-way provisions remains the same. Now, how it is done? The vendor is going to make a bill, invoice, GST invoice in the name of the principal, whereas the vendor will use the concept of bill to and ship to. The vendor is going to bill the invoice in the name of principal and ship that invoice in the name of the job worker. That is, a job worker can be a consignee in this case. The place of delivery will be of the job worker. The vendor is going to make a e-way bill, and they also will use the concept of bill to and ship to. Along with this vendor, along with the now what the things the vendor is going to deliver to the job worker? Goods. How the goods are being delivered? Vendor has to issue the invoice, which is in the name of the principal, and job worker as consignee. The vendor has to issue the e-way bill, which is in the name of principal, and place of delivery will be of the job worker. Along with this, the vendor will also give the copy of challan, which he'll receive from the principal. All these things will be given to the job worker while we are delivering the goods. It may be inputs or capital goods. After the job worker has done his job, the job worker will return back these goods to the principal. The time frame is 1 year for inputs and 3 years for the capital goods. Now, job worker will what the job worker will give along with the goods, the duplicate copy of the delivery challan which the principal has given to the vendor to be given to the job worker. Along with this, it will give the copy of invoice of his job charges, and the copy of invoice will be given back to the vendor again for the principal's invoice that has been received by the job worker while doing this work. Okay. Now, some points, some questions which I have received regarding this point is, after completion of job work, the job worker returned the goods to the principal. That time, which amount is to be mentioned in the e-way bill? In this case, see, when the goods are being sent by the vendor or by the principal to the job worker, once the goods have been delivered, now the goods have to be returned back by the job worker to the principal. So in this case, the challan value, the value of challan has been mentioned well under challan 55 or under challan 45. Whatever the value is being mentioned in the challan, with that value only the e-way bill is to be prepared while sending the goods or while receiving the goods, in both the ways, because we are sending or receiving back the goods under the cover note of the challan. So as per the GST law, it says when we are sending the goods and we have to prepare the e-way bill, then the taxable value which has to be taken in the e-way bill is the value mentioned in the invoice. Now here we are not even using the invoice. Here we are using challan. Challan is under rule 45 or 55. So whatever is the value of the challan will be considered as the taxable value for the purpose of e-way bill. There is nothing questioning about it. Now next. Now here we start with the new cases. The third case is when the goods are directly sent by the job worker to the customer. Principal has given the goods for processing, manufacturing or anything to the job worker. Job worker has done the processing and everything and now sent the goods directly to the final customer. Before now, this is a reverse scenario. Job worker is not sending the goods back to the principal. Once he will send the goods back to the principal, then principal will make a bill again delivered to the final customer. So removing these time lags, removing the tedious job, the job worker itself send the goods directly to the final customer. How this can be done? Process. Principal, similarly we know, will send the inputs, capital goods directly on job work to the job worker. Under the cover note of delivery challan that can be issued under section 55 or 45 with the copy of invoice, that is the copy of invoice. The copy of invoice here will be the copy of invoice to be given to the final customer. Since the principal is sending the goods to job worker after doing the job worker will give it to the final customer. Suppose we are dealing in some kinds of biscuit industry. Okay, FMCG. Here the principal is manufacturing the biscuits, but is giving the biscuits for packaging to the job worker. Now, what is the work of the job worker is to package those goods. Now, from principal, what is doing is manufacturing the goods, sending those prepared biscuits, cookies to the job worker. Job worker is just packaging it, and then after packaging, it will not give it back to the principal. The job worker is directly selling to the final customer. So the principal first of all will issue a delivery challan under rule 45 or 55. of the CGST rules to the job worker. Here, what the principal is going to issue? Principal is going to issue the biscuits. The value of the prepared biscuit will be mentioned there to the job worker. The e-way provisions as being applicable, we have told you, in the case of interstate supply, when the principal and job worker are in the different states, then it is an interstate movement. In that case, e-way has to be prepared. For no reason, it cannot be prepared. Okay, so we have to prepare the e-way. Secondly, if it is within the same state, then then whatever the state provisions are saying, like state provisions say, some provisions states say above the value of 50,000, some have said above the distance of 10 kilometers, some take both the things as per the CGST rules. So in that case, it depends upon the state, what your state act is saying, then you have to refer to that act. Now, job worker, after packaging the goods, will send these goods to the final customer. E-way bill, yes. Now, in this case, if how we'll prepare the e-way bill, we'll come back to next topic. The invoice, which has been sent by the principal to the job worker for delivering to the final customer. So, job worker will deliver these goods to the final customer. Now, job worker will issue the invoice of his job charges to the principal and return back the challan duplicate copy to cover up the challan. Once the challan has been issued, then to close it, we have to issue the challan. We have to give back the challan to close that process. But the job worker can issue the goods to the final customer from his place of business. The key things which we should remember and we have to take away from this scenario is, first of all, in this case, the job worker who till now we have said if not registered, then also the things can go, should be registered. The priority is the job worker should be registered one. In case if the job worker is not registered person, the job worker to whom the principal is sending the goods and is sending the goods to the final customer, if is not registered, then it is the duty of the principal, it is the responsibility of the principal to declare the job worker's place of business as the principal's additional place of business. Only then the principal can deliver the goods from the job worker's place to the final customer. So it is the utmost requirement, because we can only deliver the goods from the place of our business. Now, since the goods are delivered from the job worker's place, so if until we have not declared the job principal's additional place of business as the job worker's place of business, we cannot prepare the invoice. So it is important to declare the job worker's place of business as the additional place of business for the principal. Now, the goods supplied by the job worker to the final customer will be treated as the supply by the principal. It's okay, the goods are being supplied by the job worker to the final customer. We know that. But these goods does not belong or is not the property of the job worker. It is the property of the principal. So these goods which the job worker has supplied to the final customer is not to be included in the or not to be treated as the supply of the principal. The supply will be only of the principal. The value of this supply will not be included in the job worker's supply. Am I clear? Now, what is the impact on the place of supply when the job worker and the principal? Now see, since the principal is preparing the bill for the final customer and job worker is just making a supply. So now to consider the e-way provisions and the invoice provisions, we have to understand the place of supply. Now when the job worker and the principal are registered and situated in different states, suppose job worker and principal are in the different states, it is an interstate movement, and the goods are directly being supplied from the place of the job worker. So the principal and the recipient, what we have to, job worker or principal may be in same state, maybe in different state, that doesn't matter. We will listen up the things. If the principal and the recipient, because ultimately the recipient is the person who is getting the goods, principal is the person who is supplying the goods. The principal and the recipient are in the same state. The principal and recipient are in the same state, then we'll apply CGST and SGST will be levied in the invoice, even if the job worker is in the different state. That doesn't matter. Now, job worker will supply the goods to the final customer, but the invoice which will be made, suppose the principal is in UP, recipient is in UP, and job worker is in MP. We get the things job worked from the job worker. Now, job worker will supply the goods to the person who is in UP. So, the invoice which will be made will be from CGST and SGST will be levied because principal and recipient are in the same state. Now, if the principal and the recipient are in the different states, supposingly, and job worker is in the same state as that of the principal, but then also IGST will be levied even if the goods are removed from the job worker's place. Okay, so if the principal and recipient, we have to always consider the situation of the principal, place of supply of player principal and recipient. Before preparing an invoice or e-way bill, we have to always think before making these things that where the principal is located and where the actual recipient is located. Then only we can have an impact on the place of supply, whether IGST is to be levied or CGST or SGST is to be levied. Now there is a case 4 when the goods are sent to sub-job worker. The principal has sent the goods to a job worker. The job worker again sublets the works to a sub-job worker. What is that scenario? So similarly, the principal will send the imports good directly to the job worker under the government of delivery challan 45 and 55. E-way bill provisions will apply as we have told. The job worker has done his work. If sub-job worker has done his work and wants to sub-job work, sublets the work to another job worker. And what the sub-job worker will give to the sub-job worker? The goods. E-way bill. Again, now the job worker will prepare and the second copy of challan which the principal has given to the job worker, the 2 copies of challan which has been given, in that second copy of challan will be endorsed in the favor of the sub-job worker. Okay, that is endorsing. We have studied endorsing, so that is endorsing of the challan to the sub-job worker. Then the sub-job worker will give the goods back to the job worker and job worker will issue the copy of job work charges invoice to the principal. Now here the sub-job worker will charge to the job worker, not to the principal. Okay. Similarly, there may be a situation where sub-job worker sends the goods directly to the principal without sending it to the main job worker. It can also be done. So in that case, the second copy of challan, the goods, will be sent directly to the principal by the sub-job worker. Whereas the copy of invoice of job work charges will be delivered by the main job worker. But because the sub-job worker is going to deliver his copy of invoice of job work charges to the previous job worker from whom he has taken the work. And main job worker will give the invoice of his job work charges to the principal, whatever he is charging. Okay. Now we come to the next slide and what we have to take the key notes from these 4 scenarios. First is that if the input, semi-finished goods, capital goods, whichever we have given for job work, it should be returned back to within the period of 1 year for the inputs, semi-finished goods and capital goods, 3 years to the principal. If they are not returned back within the same time period, within the time period of 1 years or 3 years as applicable, then those transfers will be treated as deemed supplies. And the principal is then required to issue the invoice of those input, semi-finished goods or capital goods issued to the job worker. The principal is required to the invoice of those particular goods and pay the taxes along with the interest. Since we have supplied it 1 year back or 3 years back, since then they have been used by the job worker. So the date they were supplied on job work will be considered as the date of supply for the issuing the tax invoice. So the principal is required to pay the tax along with the interest of 18%. The taxable value for such supply will be the value which has been declared in the challan. Okay, so the challan is very important. When you are preparing the challan under Rule 45 or 55, you must declare the value of the goods you are supplying. That may be your cost plus a nominal profit, which you want to recover from that particular job worker in case those goods are not returned back by the job worker to you, or similarly in case these goods have been destroyed or lost by anyhow means by the job worker, and the principal, since the principal has taken the input tax credit of the goods, semi-finished goods, the imports or the capital goods which the principal has purchased in his name. So the input has been taken by the principal. When once these goods are being lost, destroyed, or not returned back by the job worker to the principal, these inputs have to be reversed by the job principal. Since the principal is reversing those inputs, so the principal is also required to issue that invoice also, sale invoice, tax invoice in the name of the job worker. And now with that invoice, the job worker is liable to take the inputs on these inputs, capital goods or semi-finished goods which he has taken through challan. So how this input is moving. Now some key points like registration, when the job worker is required to get himself registered, is the basic turnover which we have the registration limit as 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs depending upon the states in which you are having the place of supply. The job worker is registered. That is the place. Now the job worker's turnover will be only of the job charges which he has charged from the principal and not the principal supply of the principal. We cannot count or include the supply made by the principal or made by the job worker on behalf of the principal. That turnover is not counted as the turnover of the job worker. So for counting the turnover of 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs as the case may be, will be the job charges which the job worker has taken from the principal, or if any other goods has been used by the job worker from on the behalf of the principal and which has been purchased by the principal, that is be the supply. Now waste and scrap, how we deal with the waste and scrap. When we are in a manufacturing industry, there will be waste, there will be scrap while doing the manufacturing process. In case you have given the manufacturing process under the job work to some other job worker, then the principal has the sole responsibility. Basically, when we are talking about the job worker, we have always focused that job work principal should be the registered person, and it is the principal who is giving his goods, inputs, or semi-finished goods or raw material or any kind of capital goods to the job work. Now since all the things have been supplied are the property of the principal, so it is the sole responsibility of the principal always to maintain the books of accounts for the waste scrap generated by the principal or by the job worker at his place of business. Now this scrap or waste can be cleared from the job worker's place also and from the premises of the principal also. If we want to clear these waste and scrap from the job worker's place of business, then it can be done. Pursuantly, the job worker should be registered, then it can be done. And otherwise, if the job worker is not registered, then the principal has to register the job worker's place as additional place of business to sale of the scrap from his place. Okay, so in that case, either the job worker can make an invoice, sale of the scrap, pay the tax if registered. If not registered, then the principal will prepare the invoice, and after preparing the invoice, will give it to the job worker to remove the things from his place only if the principal has registered job worker's place as the additional place of business for the principal. Okay. Now moving on to the next slide, input tax credit. We have already discussed some provisions regarding the input tax credit. Supposing first thing, the input tax credit can be taken by the person who has received the goods and the invoice is in the name of that particular person. So the ITC on goods purchased by the principal can also be taken even if the goods are received first by the job worker. In this slide, if we move on to this slide, where we have taken the goods are supplied directly by the vendor to the job worker. Here the goods are physically being moved to the place of the job workers first, and after the job worker has done the job work, is returning back the goods. They may be in different shape, different size, different way. Perhaps the principal can take the input tax credit of the goods which have been supplied from by the vendor directly to the job worker, because vendor is issuing the invoice in the name of principal. The vendor is just shipping the invoice in the name of the job worker. So as and when the goods are shipped to the place of job worker and the goods received by the job worker, the principal is liable to take the input tax credit of the goods received by the job worker. If supposingly the vendor has issued the invoice of quantity of 100 kgs and the job worker has received only 90 kgs, then it is the duty of the job worker to, after checking, to intimate to the principal that I have received the short quantity. In the sense, at the same time, the principal will inform to the vendor that the short quantity has been received by the job worker. So after booking the invoice of 100 kgs in the book, the principal is required to issue a debit note of 10 kgs, so that the input which the principal has taken is only of the 90 kgs, and the principal will rectify the challan given to the job worker to 90 kgs, because invoice has to be priorly issued to the vendor before the vendor moves the goods to the job worker's place. So principal will correct the challan plus will issue the debit note to the vendor. So even if the goods are not first received by the job principal, then also the principal can take the input tax credit on the goods received by the job worker, because the invoice is in the name of the principal. The ITC on the goods can be taken by the principal even if the goods are held by the job worker on job work. Same thing. See, when the goods are received by the job worker or if the goods are received by the principal only, but these goods are held with the job worker, with the third party. So the principal can take the input tax rate of the goods which are held by the third party, that is the job worker, on the job work, because the job worker has issued these goods on, or principal has issued these goods on challan under the cover note of challan. So while you are preparing the challan, you should also make one job work register as required, so that in that we can prove these goods have. Sometimes, if any time the people from the department makes an inspection and asks from you that why you have taken this input, well, these goods are lying with the third party, then you can show this is my job work register and these are the challans that these goods have been sent on the job work to the job worker. So these are basically the property of principal and has been sent on doing the job work on these goods. So the ITC can be taken on these goods or the inputs, capital goods, semi-finished goods which have been given to the job worker are not returned back within the time frame of 1 year or 3 years. Then these goods which have been transferred to the job worker will be treated as the supply, and the principal is required to issue the tax invoice of these goods. Perhaps there is a time limit. We have discussed in previous slide also, the commissioner has the power to give the extension of this period of 1 year, 3 years. So if the goods which are not returned back within a time frame of 1 or 3 years, or such extended time which has been granted by the commissioner on certain things, if then also the goods are returned back by the job worker, then the principal is required to put up the invoice, has the mandatory requirement to issue the invoice on these imports, capital goods, or the semi-finished goods in the name of the job worker, and the job worker is liable to take the input tax rate of these goods. Similar, now for this point, what I have to have in the last slide, I have one query which someone has raised. What if the job worker use some of his own material as input to execute the job worker? How he will invoice it now and take ITC for his own inputs? Supposingly, there is Mr. A, who is the person who is who has the biscuit factory of manufacturing. And there is Mr. B, who is doing the job work of packaging these and supplying to the customers. Now, the packaging material, like the carton boxes, have been supplied by the job worker to the principal to the job worker to pack and then put up these biscuit packets in those for the supply. If some carton boxes are less, have been shortfall, so the principal has asked the job worker to purchase those carton boxes from your side and supply the goods in the time frame. So the job worker purchases those particular new set of carton boxes for the supply. Now these carton boxes which have been purchased, if purchased in the name of the job worker, then these purchases are of the job worker, and job worker will use these carton boxes and book these purchases in his books of accounts as his own purchases and supply those as the to the job worker, to the final customer. And on the same time, when the job worker is going to raise the bill of his job charges to the principal, at the same time he can also raise one another bill for the use of those job charges, those carton boxes, and those carton boxes will now be sold from the job worker to the principal, since they have been used by the job worker for the principal only. So this can be one scenario where the job worker purchases the goods, books in his books of accounts, use those things, those carton boxes for the supply of the goods to the customer, and issue one more invoice in the name of the principal for the carton boxes, and this carton boxes will be treated as supply from the job worker side. Now this, first of all, job worker will book the purchases. Secondly, he will make one invoice for the carton boxes and make one invoice for the job charges. And these carton boxes, which the invoice has been made by the job worker, will again be booked as the purchases for the principal and job charges also. Now, there is another advice which you can take and do like this. The job worker purchases the goods, those carton boxes, but what he do is ask the particular vendor, to make the invoice in the name of the principal. So here, now what, but here we have to take the permission from the principal first of all, that I will purchase the goods from the local person, whereas the bill will be made in the name of principal only. So here the second thing is that the job worker can ask the vendor to prepare an invoice in the name of the principal, whereas deliver those goods to the job worker's place. Again, bill to ship to concept. Now here the job worker is purchasing on behalf of the principal, and the job worker, what he does, if he makes the payment to the particular vendor, supposingly, then he can again send this invoice back to the principal as a pure agent and receive back the amount paid for those things, or the principal can directly make the payment for those goods purchased by the job worker. So there are two scenarios. One, the job worker can purchase in his own name and simultaneously issue an invoice in the name of the principal. Secondly, the job worker can take up the delivery of the goods in his place, whereas the bill has to be made in the name of the principal, and he gives back the bill to the principal to take up the input and uses those goods, and he takes the challan from the principal. There are two ways how the things can be done. So here where you have asked how the job worker can uses some of his material, if supposingly, now the second thing, if job worker already have the carton box and doesn't purchase it, supposingly, if the job worker already have the carton boxes at his place and does not purchase it, then what is to be done? Then if the job worker uses his own things which he has already owned in his name, purchased in his name priorly, then what, the first case which I have told you, we can take up that, like that the job worker will issue the invoice of those goods used by the principal in the name of the principal. So the job worker is going to tax or the issue the invoice in the name of the principal. I think you have got your solution. Now moving on to the next slide is the ITC 04. This is the return which we have to file under the job work. Time under which we have to file is 25th of the month succeeding the quarter. Supposingly now we have completed the quarter of March, Jan to March of 2021. Then it is to be filed within the 25th of April of 2021, whereas the government has for the time being increased the deadline up to 31st of May. Whereas it has to be filed within the 25th of the month of the succeeding quarter. This return has 4 tables to be filled up. The first table is table 4. If you will see it, you will find it is the table 4, where we have to mention the details of the goods which have been dispatched to the job worker by the principal. So in that table 4, which we have to mention is the goods which have goods, inputs, semi-finished goods, capital goods dispatched by the principal to the job worker for job work. Then we have table 5A, which tells we have to mention the details of the goods which have been received back from the job worker after the job work has been done by him. So if we supply the goods to the job worker, we'll receive it back. If we have not received it back, then what we have to do? We have to issue the sale invoice. If you have mentioned the details in table 4 that you have sent something for job work, and in table 5A you do not mention the things have been received back by you from the job worker, then it means for the rest of the things which you have not received, you have to issue the sale invoice. That is the GST invoice. Now we have third table is table 5B. If you have the goods have been received from another job worker, that is the case of sub job worker. Now if you have given the goods to a job worker after doing the job work or doing the partial job work, the job worker give it to the sub job worker, and then you are receiving those goods back from the sub job worker, as we have discussed in this slide. If you look for before, in this slide, if we receive goods back from the sub job worker to the principal, then in this case you have to mention the details in table 5A. That is the goods which you have sent for job work, you have taken it from the different job worker, the details will come in table 5B. So if you receive from the same job worker, table 5A. From the different job worker, table 5B. Now table 5C, when you are supplying the good directly from the premises of the job worker to the customer. This provision which we have discussed. This one, when the principal supplies the goods to the job worker does the job work and supplies directly to the final customer, then in that case you are not receiving the goods back. So what you will do? You will mention the details in table 5C, the invoice through which you have sent directly from the job worker's premises to the final customer. So there are 4 tables. Table 4 for sending the goods, dispatching the goods to the job worker. The one table where you have to tell the how much goods, semi-finished goods, inputs, capital goods have been sent by the principal to the job worker. Now table 5A, 5B and 5C are for the when we receive back the goods. If we receive from the same job worker, table 5A. If we do not receive from the same job worker, table 5B, that is sub job worker. If we are receiving from, you are selling the goods directly from the job worker's premises, not receiving the goods at your premises, table 5C. And if you are not mentioning the goods which you have dispatched from your site to the job worker, you have not received back. So you have not mentioned in 5A, neither in 5B or neither in 5C. For those goods, you have to issue the invoice, sale invoice. This is a GST invoice. That is, you are selling it directly to the job worker because job worker has lost it, either destroyed it or is not able to give it to you back, has consumed it. Now, regarding this, we have one query. In case a job worker further sends goods to another job worker for some additional job work, whether this job worker who is sending the goods will also file ITC-04 as now he has become a supplier for the other job worker? No, since the things are covered in the same table. In case we do not expect the job worker to be registered. So that's the principal who is the owner of the goods, which we have already discussed in the previous slides. Here, no, in the waste and scrap one. It is the sole responsibility of maintaining any records for waste, scrap, or anything else. It is the sole responsibility of the principal. If the principal is registered, because he is the owner of the goods, and who is the one who is owner has the liability of maintaining all the records of those particular things. So in this case, no, you don't have to file, the job worker do not have to file ITC-04, since if the things are the goods have been received back from the sub job worker, then it is covered on table 5b if you look at properly to the ITC-04. In case of any other query regarding these job work provisions, then please feel free to contact me at this below mentioned mail ID, or you can comment also in the beneath my video. Hope you like this. Thank you so much.